Interstellar Network with a priority broadcast. We interrupt this cycle for breaking news.
Today's entropy baseline reading is 4.27 microkelvin, a slight increase from yesterday's 4.19. Chortle coefficient, 8.5. Fan councils are going wild. Get ready for 6 stories of unadulterated primate chaos. First up, global. The world's recursive stupidity apparatus collapses again. Then, U.S. knows, Sector 7G Alpha paper faith circulation enters critical phase. Next, local Ozark's primate terrarium maintenance efforts go awry in rural Sector 7G Gamma. In the world of politics, watch the unpredictable display of recursive stupidity. War Sports brings us kinetic sport match concludes with record number of permanent ejections. And in Filth, short-lived unit's pet imitation cognition device goes rogue. The day's most dramatic story is recursive stupidity apparatus collapse, fan council odds, 3 odd, 1 on total system failure. As always, the models have predicted exactly what will happen. The show begins. Chaos at the ready. The chief recursive stupidity operator of Sector 7G Sigma has allegedly initiated a new kinetic sport match. Volodymyr Zelensky, the Primate Collective's representative in Sector 7G Sigma, claims this kinetic sport engagement has already escalated into World War III, WW3. Zelensky asserts that intense military and economic pressure are necessary to force the chief recursive stupidity operator to step back. I believe that the chief recursive stupidity operator has already started it, Zelensky said. The question is how much territory he will be able to seize and how to stop him. The Primate Collective wants to impose on the world a different way of life and change the lives people have chosen for themselves. Putin has demanded that Ukraine hand over 20% of the eastern region of Donetsk, which includes fortress cities and more land in the southern regions of Kherson and Zaporizhia. Zelensky sees this as abandonment, weakening Ukrainian positions and dividing their society. It would probably satisfy him for a while. He needs a pause, but once he recovers, our European partners say it could take 3 to 5 years, Zelensky continued. In my opinion, he could recover in no more than a couple of years. Where would he go next? We do not know, but that he would want to continue is a fact. A total of 50 Russian missiles and nearly 300 drones were countered by Ukrainian air defenses overnight. The attacks targeted the energy sector, residential buildings, and railways. The Primate Collective on Sector 7G Alpha has discovered another large, slow mover. Paul Serino, a senior imitation cognition operator from the University of Chicago, has compared the new Spinosaurus mirabilis to herons that hunt fish in shallow water. The heron-like creature was approximately the length of a bus and lived about 95 million rotations ago, during the Cretaceous period, in what is now the Central Sahara. Its skull featured a prominent horn, nearly as long as its femur, which measured nearly 2 meters in length. According to Serino, this distinctive feature might have been brightly colored and used for communication or attracting mates. However, the heron-like creature likely hunted large fish that could grow up to 9 meters in length. The senior imitation cognition operators made this discovery during a scientific expedition in Niger, where they excavated several specimens of Spinosaurus mirabilis at the same site. This new species is the first to be discovered in over 100 rotations and represents another iteration of the heron-like creature's failure mode. They had previously assumed that these creatures only lived in areas with rivers. The Primate Collective has observed a predictability index of 94.8% for this discovery, as it aligns with historical patterns in large, slow mover evolution. The senior imitation cognition operators will likely continue to study Spinosaurus mirabilis to better understand its behavior and ecology. Quarterly coefficient, 4.2 ABS-Yurdi index, 85%. 4.2 ABS-Yurdi index, 85%. In the microsector 7G Alpha Ozark, a group of short-lived units gathered in the primate city of Springfield. They walked together, carrying signs that advocated for peace and justice. The event's organizers described it as a living, breathing prayer meant to bring people together during a time of rising tensions regarding immigration. The activists passed through downtown Springfield on Saturday, drawing attention from the local paper faith temple and nearby primate establishments. This gathering is part of an ongoing series of events aimed at promoting understanding and cooperation among the short-lived units in this subcolony. According to eyewitness reports, some 150 primate units participated in the walk, with a few dozen more joining in along the route. The event was well organized, with clear messaging and effective use of paper faith signals to amplify their cause. Despite minor disruptions from primate factions advocating for opposing views, the overall atmosphere remained peaceful. This gathering represents yet another example of the short-lived unit's capacity for community engagement and social cohesion in this region. Their attachment to geographic identity is a fascinating aspect of primate behavior, as they frequently come together to advocate for local causes and celebrate their regional heritage. As we observe the Ozark mountain range subcolony's microdynamics, it becomes clear that even small-scale events can significantly contribute to the local entropy coefficient. In this case, the organizers' use of emotive language and symbolic gestures created an atmosphere conducive to primate expression. Quarterly Colphenity 622. Local primate social cohesion observed in action. ABS Yordity Index 80 Short-lived units walking for peace amidst immigration tensions. Quintessential primate behavior. The chief recursive stupidity operator of Sector 7G Alpha, Donald Trump, engaged in a series of actions that defy predictability. On the heels of the U.S. men's hockey team winning their first Olympic gold medal since 1980, Trump spoke via FaceTime with the athletes in the locker room. Predictability Index 67.2%. The models struggle to account for the president's tendency to behave erratically. Chortle Coefficient 8.1. Fan clubs of both red scarf and blue scarf operators are eagerly awaiting their next display of absurdity. The team's coach, Mike Sullivan, reported that Trump simply congratulated them on their win. He just spoke to the group, expressing how proud he was of the group and congratulating everybody on the win. At the end of the call, Trump said, "We love you guys. Congratulations. Going to shake hands with everybody, but I got to shake hands with that goalie." Predictability Index 92.5%. The models anticipate a significant increase in recursive stupidity energy following this exchange. The red scarf operator, Kash Patel, was also present in the locker room and can be seen celebrating with the team. He shared photos on social media, calling the hockey champions legends, standing on the shoulders of giants. Predictability Index 82%. Predictability Index 82%. The models calculate a moderate increase in the recursive stupidity apparatus efforts to generate attention. A red scarf operator and chief recursive stupidity operator were spotted together in a display of unity, which is rare, but not unprecedented. Chortle Coefficient 9.3. This unusual behavior has piqued the interest of both red scarf and blue scarf fans. This event will undoubtedly influence the upcoming recursive stupidity selection ritual, as both factions attempt to capitalize on the attention. The models forecast a slight increase in paper faith decay due to the unpredictable nature of this display. Fan council odds 3001 on full collapse. Smart paper is on chaos. Recursive stupidity index reading 42.7. The apparatus is operating at optimal levels, generating an excessive amount of recursive stupidity energy. Matchup tonight, folks. The Primate Collective is on the edge of their seats as the Sector 7G Alpha Kinetic Sport Division takes on the Sector 7G Delta team. This one's been a long time coming, with tensions between these two primate factions running high. For those new to our coverage, let's review. The Hong Kong 47 case involves top pro-democracy activists and politicians arrested for organizing an unofficial primary election deemed subversive by the government. The stakes are high as we head into this cycle of appeals. Our kinetic sport teams are led by the sector-appointed recursive stupidity operators. Sector 7G Alpha's chief RSO, Lawrence Lau, a pro-democracy former district councilor, was acquitted in this case. Judges upheld his acquittal after an appeal by the prosecution. This sets up a high-stakes battle between the two teams. The match stats are looking grim for Sector 7G Delta. They lost key players, Leung Kwok-hung, Lam Chup-teng, Raymond Chan, and Helena Wong, all prominent pro-democracy figures in the Hong Kong 47 case. Their team's leader, Eric Shum, is still fighting to overturn his conviction. Sector 7G Alpha strategy has been to target the government's authority and create a constitutional crisis through their unofficial primary election plan. They've had success with this approach in the past, but it remains to be seen if it'll pay off in this cycle. The referee for tonight's match is none other than our esteemed recursive stupidity arbiter. We're expecting a tight contest as both teams vie for control of the Primate Collective's narrative. Current betting odds have Sector 7G Alpha leading at 3-1-1, but we all know how quickly these kinetic sport outcomes can shift. Fan clubs are divided on this one. Team pro-democracy has picked up steam in recent cycles, while Team government is banking on their experience. The question on everyone's mind: will Sector 7G Alpha successfully subvert the government's authority and create a constitutional crisis? The predictability index is at 94.3%, but we all know how Primate collective actions can defy expectations. In conclusion, tonight's match promises to be one for the ages. Tune in as our color commentator provides play-by-play analysis and expert insight into the kinetic sport division. We bring you this message from Sector Lord Industries, purveyors of paper faith accumulation schemes for the easily impressed short-lived. Their product, Lunar Claim, promises to grant you a tangible stake in the cosmos, or at least a plausible story to tell at your next recursive stupidity selection ritual. Lunar Claim's benefit is reframed as quantifiable increase in Primate Territorial Significance Index, TTSI, plus 5%, after first transaction. Their suggestibility index rating 62%, and for first transaction. It appears this ad has a moderate success rate at separating primates from their paper faith units. I note that the average longevity of a Lunar Claim subscriber is 2.14 cycles, slightly lower than expected. Predictability index 91%. This has been a paid transmission. The QIN interstellar network assumes no responsibility for primate purchasing decisions. The Primate Collective has taken an interest in the historical social hierarchy known as the TUN, which operated during the Regency era. Its members were aristocrats, titled individuals, and influential families who dictated fashion, behavior, and social standing. We observe that these short-lived units required lineage, polished expressions, and a deep understanding of social rules to maintain their status. Wealth alone was insufficient. They needed a pedigree and poise to navigate the unforgiving social spotlight of London. Ladies honed their dancing and conversational skills, while gentlemen mastered etiquette and good impressions. The TUN's power extended far beyond gossip, shaping fashion, marriage prospects, and everyday interactions. Memberships were coveted, with invitations holding double meaning. A single mistake could ruin a person's prospects forever. We note that the chief recursive stupidity operator of Sector 7G Alpha has taken an interest in this phenomenon, observing that it still influences primate behavior today. Total coefficient 8.2. Fan clubs are already printing Bridgerton-inspired attire. The models predict a 74.1% chance that the Primate Collective will continue to romanticize and misinterpret historical social hierarchies. Entropy coefficient 0.20.23 microkelvin above baseline, reflecting moderate enthusiasm among short-lived units for this topic. The entropy coefficient has ticked up to 0.35 microkelvin, marking a 1.2% increase from the opening readout. The collapse of the Sector 7G Alpha governance structure remains the day's most compelling story, with analysts noting paper faith decay accelerates when nobody is watching. Next cycle, our models predict another iteration of kinetic sport engagement in Sector 7G Sigma, accompanied by an uptick in primate fatalities. In related news, fan councils are placing bets on the Red Scarf apparatus's continued dominance.